All right, thank you, Nick. A recent ruling from the Supreme Court allows President Donald Trump to end temporary protected status for Haitians and Syrian immigrants, but it could have a broader impact. Here to explain is immigration attorney Kate Lincoln Goldfinch. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And I want to start out by just talking about why was this made, excuse me.
The Trump administration has systematically canceled temporary protected status programs for several countries, and there has been a lot of federal litigation over whether they can cancel it in the way that they have been. And it made its way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court issued a 6-3 decision, essentially holding that the administration has quite a bit of authority when it decides to cancel a TPS program. And unfortunately, this is going to impact hundreds of thousands of people.
Just talking about that, I mean, hundreds of thousands, that's a large number. Could we see that number increase? I mean, what are people thinking right now as they see this ruling?
It's a scramble. This particular case just ruled over Haitian and Syrian TPS, which is affecting about 350,000 people who are likely to lose their work permits next week. But the holding overall has a broader application to other TPS programs. And in this country, we have more than 1.3 million people under temporary protected status. They're all working, they're living their lives, and they have cancellations coming up. And so the fact that the Supreme Court essentially granted this wide authority to the Trump administration sends a signal to everyone holding TPS that their status is also really at risk right now.
Could we see any other countries, in the future?
Yes, we have some upcoming for El Salvador, for Ukraine. Each of those programs has 100,000 people in it. Overall, there are 17 countries in this program. It's important to remember that these programs are passed for people who have infrastructure collapses for one reason or another in their country. And the holding is that they're not safe to go back to their country. So a lot of these people from Ukraine and from Syria have a real concern about their lives and their safety if they are forced to return to their countries. And so not only are they very concerned about their living situation here in this country and whether they're going to be able to continue working, but they also worry deeply about whether they will be able to survive if they have to leave the United States and return home.
When it comes to you, are you getting a lot of inquiries? Are people reaching out about, what to do next?
Absolutely. We've gotten inquiries about this since the Trump administration started and has been canceling TPS programs. But anytime there's a big decision like this, we get a lot of people who finally realize that this is real and that they have to take action. And unfortunately, a lot of employers are really going to be struggling. Many of the Haitians working in this country work in the healthcare field. They work in home health care or elder care. And if they lose their work permits next week, that means a lot of nursing homes, a lot of people who depend upon their safety and their health care because of this population are also really going to be struggling.
You just kind of talked about this, but, employees, are they concerned? Are they going to feel the impact? How do you fill those positions?
It's really, really hard. A lot of these rural healthcare jobs, these caring for elderly in their homes, they're difficult jobs to fill, and they can't do a quick turnaround and fill these jobs. And, unfortunately, I think that not only are these businesses going to suffer, but the people who rely upon these workers for their own lives and their own health and security are really going to suffer as well. And it's very concerning. I mean, this is just when you're thinking about the Haitian population, the Syrian population, but there's, of course, a broader application in other sectors. And when you're talking about 1 million people in the workforce, looking at Honduras and El Salvador, these are people who have been here since the late 90s or the early 2000s. They've worked here for decades. They've bought homes, they've raised children who are US citizens, and their lives are being upended abruptly. And it's really hard. It's really hard on them, and it's really hard on our economy. And ultimately, it's rooted in Stephen Miller's belief that these people don't belong here and they all just need to return home. And there's deep cruelty at the heart of these policies. And that was part of what the decision of the Supreme Court was about, was the racism that has been expressed on the Trump administration toward Haitians. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court essentially was hands off about it and said, we can't step in here.
All right, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, thank you very much for your time and your insight.
Thanks for having me.